In some of his writings, Dennett makes a distinction between skyhooks and cranes in terms of the development of organisms and species, evolutionary development. He says that skyhooks, which are the mechanism used by kind of religious or theological accounts of development, are spurious. They represent a kind of reaching down from some divine position and the raising up of more complex developed forms. He says that's not how evolution works, and I think he's probably right in that. He says what really happens to move evolutionary development forward is the occasional development within that process of cranes being mechanisms which accelerate the rate of development. And he gives an example of the eukaryotic revolution, when cells, single-celled animals, single-celled organisms combined to make more complex eukaryotic cells, which are capable of more complex processes, more complex engagements with the environment. And the eukaryotic cell then allows the accelerated development into multicellular organisms and so on. And he also gives the example of sexual reproduction and the blending of genetic materials that allows. And he also hints at consciousness as being another accelerating process, another crane that once developed, it allows other things to develop much faster. And I'm thinking about what this consciousness idea must mean. So I think large parts of consciousness, I mean, it's a hard term, I think, anyway, to understand full stop, but I think large parts of what I understand to be consciousness aren't necessarily useful as cranes at all, really. What I do think is useful is something to do with purpose and planning and prediction and anticipation. And I suspect those terms are all kind of related, really, but the one I'm thinking of right now is purpose. And I'm thinking about this again partly in relation to Dennett, who did a presentation some time ago now in response to Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life, where he was talking about what purpose might be for a kind of purpose which doesn't rely on a theological position, as Rick Warren's Purpose-Driven Life book does. So thinking about purpose, well, I think purpose as a conscious mechanism, which it seems to be, it represents an ability not only to anticipate potential futures and an ability to discriminate between alternative possible futures, but also to set particular goals to work towards the achievement of one of those futures, and the kind of emotional engagement with that goal, which we experience in a felt way as a sense of purpose. So to the extent that a goal, a teleological goal, something that we might work towards, can be seen as developmental, and I say to the extent that because clearly there could be goals which are counterproductive, but let's say that the idea of a goal that one might work towards is a potential developmental opportunity, then within the overall remit of consciousness, the development of conscious purpose, which I suspect just constitute a kind of crane in Dennett's sense, something that once we get the idea of purpose, the idea of planning towards possible alternative futures, And particularly when motivated by a strongly felt sense of rightness with that purpose, then that could accelerate a certain kind of development. It's probably not biological development, what you're talking about, cognitive development or mimetic development or something like that.